It's one of the largest defense expos in the world, and it's happening right here in Istanbul. From battle tanks to communication satellites, Turkey is showcasing the full spectrum of its military hardware. I'm Zeynep Gökçe, and welcome to this special edition of Strait Talk. Join me as I profile some of Turkey's latest defense and communications technology here at IDEF 2025. It's been a dramatic rise for an industry that barely existed at the turn of the century. In less than 2 decades, Turkey has gone from a heavy importer of defense hardware to a nation designing, building, and exporting its own. Every 2 years, defense giants, government officials, and military analysts converge on Istanbul for IDEF, the International Defense Industry Fair. For Türkiye, it's a chance to show off its growing capabilities: homegrown drones, next-generation armor, and communications. Turkey's defense push isn't just happening on land, sea, or in the air. It's headed to space. And right now, all eyes are on the country's first domestically built communication satellite, Turksat 6A. At the heart of Turkey's space ambitions is TUBITAK, its top scientific institution. Along with Turkish aerospace industries and other local firms, TUBITAK has been leading the development of Turksat 6A, a national satellite built almost entirely with domestic technology. Launched last year, the mission isn't just technical. It has growing geopolitical stakes. In a world where space is power, Turkey wants to fly with the top tier. I sat down with Mehmet Nefes, the director of TUBITAK UZAY Institute. So, Mr. Nefes, it's been a little over a year since Turkey launched its first indigenous communication satellite, Turksat 6A. What has happened since then? Could you give us some updates?
Turksat 6A is the biggest R&D project of the Turkey. And also we can classify it as the most complex project of the Turkey also. Now satellite is now in the 36,000 kilometers, which is the longest distance of the Turkey's technological product. We finish all the operational procedures, operational preparations. We performed operation trainings to the Turksat team. And last month we performed the handover. We called the handover. So far, as the satellite manufacturer, TÜBİTAK UZAY controlled the satellite, was the control of the satellite. Now, Turksat started to control its satellite, and Turksat 6A is operating successfully, we can say that. Now we are in the on-orbit support phase. Now it means that now satellite is active.
Great news. So we're talking about Turksat 6A, but what is it exactly for? What are its capabilities?
It will increase the broadcast capability of the Turkey and Turksat. It will also increase the satellite fleet backup. Backup is very important. As you know, you are in the also broadcast sector. The interruption on the broadcast is you need to avoid. You take the precautions. So Turksat 6A will provide the enhanced capacity and also the backup. And also now the coverage area. So far, all of the Turksat satellite fleets, the other satellites, Turksat reached the 3.5 billion people. Now, thanks to the Turksat 6A, we reached to 5 billion, especially for the east region, far east coverage area. So the broadcasting area, although like a TRT world can broadcast on Indonesia, on Malaysia, thanks to the Turksat 6A. This is really, important. I say that it's also strategic, and also it will be used for emergency communication, for some military applications, for civil applications, for since the satellite is independent of the terrestrial infrastructure. It will provide the enhanced telecommunication capacity.
And it's also a huge investment.
Yes.
So how do countries benefit from building their own satellites? Like financially, how do they benefit from this? What gains could they see in the long run?
Yeah, as you know, every country has the TV broadcast sector and the data communications. So you have to build a very, complex infrastructure. So you can, if you don't control your satellites, there's always question mark because you are purchasing from, another country, another manufacturer. So the Turksat 6A, if you have a satellite like a Turksat 6A, you have the independency. You can make the any communication, any control of your satellite. The the most added value is the independency. I can say that. Yes, the financially it's a big investment, but I can say that it's also strategic. But if you pass the first milestone, like if you have a ground infrastructure, if you have a human resources, if you learn how to design, how to operate the satellite, so for the second, for the third satellites, you can benefit the financially directly also. The turnover rate of the telecommunication satellite, if we think about like a 15-year lifetime, which is the classical lifetime of the telecommunication satellite, after 10 years you can reach the break-even point. Maybe for the first satellite it's gonna be difficult, but for the second or third satellite you can easily reach the break-even point in early stage of the lifetime.
So launching its own satellites, Turksat 6A, how will this affect Turkey's global standing and economy, especially when it comes to growing homemade technology?
Around the world, there are just 11 or 12 countries who can build own satellites and launch their satellites. We launched our satellite via SpaceX. We use the International Space Agency. But this is our satellite. So we have that power. Economically, we can say that, by the way, we designed, produced these satellites via our stakeholder with the ecosystem. As TUBITAK UZAY, we were not alone. We were the prime, we were the main coordinator, we were responsible system engineering, main avionics, main flight computer, but together with Aselsan, Turkish Aerospace, Corporation TAI, and also CTEC, we also established a space ecosystem. And under these four companies, there are also around small companies or startups. They also help us to build subsystems and equipments. It creates really good, economy and added value. And some of the companies also started to export their, the equipments and engineering capabilities. As TUBITAK UZAY, we also, started to export these capabilities. So it creates a very strategic and important asset for us.
And it took years to complete this project. What was the most challenging part, in your opinion?
Yes, as I stated, it was very complex and difficult project. Normally, now we have a satellite in orbit, but we have designed, produced, and tested three different, the satellite models. We performed first, produced the structural model, and also engineering model, and then finally flight model. Since it is the first time, we have some experience for the Earth observation satellites. We also designed and launched the IMEJA satellite, which is the Earth observation, but it is a low Earth orbit, and it's a different scale, different class. We have some heritage, but we don't have the heritage, flight heritage for the telecommunication satellite. It's like I say, that the upper class. So it is we passed a learning curve. The most challenging part is to learn the learning phase. Now we achieved that. We qualified our engineering model. After that, we started to produce the flight model. During this period, 9-year period, we also the pandemic, as all of the, all the world, affected the pandemic. We also heavily affected. Maybe the 1.5 year direct impact on the project, and also some sanctions for the supply chain due to the, some political reasons. Some countries applied the sanctions to us. It was beneficial for us. Yes, it took some time to produce some own products. It helped to increase the locality ratio, which is more than 80%. But I can say that the most challenging part is, I think, the learning phase, but we passed that.
Turksat 6A is an 80% indigenous satellite. What is stopping Turkey from making this 100%?
Actually, if you look at the other satellite manufacturers in Europe, North America, 100% sounds not realistic and not reasonable. Just if you look at China, it is yes 100% as you guess. But we also assessed the internal line at the beginning of the project. Some of the equipments, some of the subsystems creates the long lead items. We call the long lead items. Yes, we can build the 100%, but it can be costly, and also the schedule will be affected. We determine the strategic parts. In Turksat 6A, there are lots of also experimental payloads, experimental equipments. The main purpose is to gain the flight heritage. Flight heritage is everything in the space domain. Yes, now we started in the 80%. For each subsystem, we put a commercial flight heritage equipment and also the TUBITAK UZAY or Aselsan or CTEK or Turkish Aerospace, the domestic equipment. So we have to also reach the reliability of the satellite. So this is one of the concerns. The other concerns to also, the supply chain. In Image, the locality ratio was started for the Earth observation. We started around the 20% locality ratio. Now we reached the 90%. So it is step by step. For the next satellite in the Turksat 6A, for our next communication satellite, definitely it will be higher than the 80%.
Hopefully one day Turkey can produce fully independent satellites, launch its satellites. Mr. Nefes, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you very much.
But IDEF isn't just about what goes up. It's also about what rolls, flies and fights on the ground. And few companies represent Turkey's military export drive better than FNSS. The company has been a cornerstone of Turkey's defense exports for decades. Known for its combat vehicles and modular platforms, it's supplied militaries from Malaysia to the Middle East. At this year's IDEF, FNSS is unveiling a new line of autonomous systems designed for urban warfare and unmanned operations. I spoke to Cem Altinisik, FNSS's corporate communications manager, to get a better idea of what new platforms they're looking to roll out. Cem, we're inside Pars Alpha. It's part of the New Generation Vehicles project. What is the importance of this initiative, and can you tell us some of its features?
Yes. So the Pars Alpha actually goes back to early 2000s, because we had designed the 8x8 configuration vehicles, which was the first generation Pars, the first generation, second generation, third generation. So the first generation was Mark 1. The Mark 1 was a prototype. So Mark 2 had converted to a amphibious configuration, and that was exported to Malaysia with a technology transfer. So that was the AV8 Gambita. Pars 3 was an export program for Oman, and there was another Pars 4 which was for special forces, but we didn't have the Pars 5. So we started, and all these things which we have learned for many years from armored fighting vehicles and armored combat vehicles, which are wheeled vehicles, which is either 8x8 or 6x6, we decided to generate a new configuration which could fulfill all the needs of the future battlefield for any requirements for the army, for the new generation vehicles. So that was the time we started with the Pars Alpha program, and we had it from ICE for a few years.
It's not in use yet?
No, it's not in use yet, because we just started the T0 of the program. So we signed the contract, we started, unlike the automotive industry, we signed the contracts first, then we started to build the vehicles. Each army, each user have different threats, different requirements, different climate, different territory, different terrains. So you have to adapt that system to be able to be capable of have that type of mobility, that type of protection. So now we are in the beginning of the production phase for the Turkish Army. So hopefully we will be able to deliver these vehicles in a certain period of time.
Cem, it's not easy to explain all the features of this vehicle.
Yeah.
Just briefly, what are its most standout features, just very briefly?
Yes, so if here we are standing in an infantry fighting vehicle configuration, but it's an infantry fighting vehicle, so there's an infantry is sitting in here. So we see that we have seats all around there, so this is, it actually is a 12 personnel vehicle. We have 12 personnel, which includes the commander there, driver, and the gunner sits there. So all these troops are carried safely from point A to point B, and by doing that it also has a protection, self-protection, and also to engage other armored fighting vehicles or threats with this weapon system. But also it's the most important feature of this vehicle is protection level. It has a very high protection level against mines, improvised explosives, kinetic rounds all around, and it has also technological features which are laser warning systems that also tells you, where the threat is coming, or someone is going to fire you a missile or whatever, so you know that in advance. And the seat you are sitting there is also a very special seat. It's a mine protected seat. Protection is our most important value in engineering and also supplying systems to the users.
FNSS is betting big that collaboration and technology transfers will help not only spur innovation, but expand market reach, especially in key areas across the Asia-Pacific and Gulf.
Initially, we had been able to design and manufacture together with a company in Indonesia for the medium tank program for Indonesian Army. So that happened a few years ago, and we delivered all the medium tanks to the Indonesian Army. And that was a very interesting program because that also included a technology transfer. So we together we have been able to start studying this kind of concept together with Indonesians, and then we co-designed together, and then we built 2 prototypes, and those prototypes were qualified, and after the qualifications have been finalized, we started serial production and delivered all the vehicles to the Indonesian Army. So this platform is basically the Katlan medium tank platform, but now we decided to do something different. That was Indonesian Army's requirement. So we said, okay, there is a Kaplan medium tank, but what if we had convert this vehicle to a fire support and reconnaissance variant? So thereby, we start using the main hull, the main platform of the Kaplan, and we coupled it together with our new generation 2-man turret, which is the Teber turret. So this 2-man turret is one of the innovations of FNSS, which we have been able to showcase recently. And here, with this turret, we have a 30mm gun, but that 30mm main gun is a special gun, which can be upgraded to 40mm whenever customer needs, just by changing the barrel itself. It is also coaxial with a 7.62 machine gun and a 50 caliber machine gun. So we have both of them together. So with all these ATGM missiles, we've been able to keep the main battle tanks away from us, so we can be able to target them from 40 kilometers before we get into their range. So it's a two-man crew turret and a 1-man crew in the driver's seat, so it's a total 3-man is able to use this system. So this is the latest system which we showcased from FNSS in this exhibition.
Sounds great. So your main customer seems to be the Turkish military forces, correct me if I'm wrong, but how are you expanding your customer profile or user profile? As you say, which regions is FNSS focusing on?
Yes, so FNSS has been established in 1989. So since then we have been designing, manufacturing under license for Turkish armed forces in the beginning of 1990s. But then after, starting from 1996, we started to export these products. Especially we started in Middle East. So United Arab Emirates was our first export customer. So we delivered hundreds of vehicles to United Arab Emirates by that period of time. So that followed the Malaysian program, which is the first Malaysian program in the 2000, and we delivered again hundreds of armored fighting vehicles and armored personnel carriers for the Malaysian army. We had been able to upgrade Saudi land forces armored personnel carriers, which was all generation vehicles. So we upgraded them in a facility in Saudi Arabia. So that was a great achievement. So together with the Saudi Arabia and Malaysia, we also achieved great technology transfer. So we transferred our technology, and that was also a good collaboration between two countries and two companies worldwide. So that also put us in a level as a global company within the land systems market. And recently, we had been delivered the medium tank to Indonesia. Now a new one I've signed last year, which we started a new one with the armored personnel carrier configuration of the Kaplan. It's pretty much looks like this vehicle, but it is front engine and it carries troops. So we started that program. That's also a technology transfer.
So what are your expectations from IDEF this year, and how does this event, how has it been contributing to the company's success and global reach?
Yes, IDEF is a exhibition which has been held in Turkey since many years. FNSS is already an over 35 years old company, and we've been participating in this show since the very beginning. And throughout that time, it never changed its role to be an international defense exhibition, because these exhibitions are pretty much important for our industry, because we are not, unlike the automotive industry, this is the only opportunity for us to meet with all our stakeholders, which are our suppliers, our users, and technology partners, business partners, and also international collaboration with other companies as well.
So you mentioned earlier that FNSS collaborates with other Turkish defense companies such as Aselsan.
Yes.
It's one of them. So why are these collaborations so important, so crucial for the industry, especially considering Turkey is trying to become 100% self-sufficient in its technologies?
Yes, well, absolutely. It also helps us to service our indigenous design capabilities to the users, both local and international, but also designing them within our capabilities, which is the most important capital, is our human resources within the country. So in Turkey, we have a great human resource in that sense. We have great engineers, and also the companies are very enthusiastic to build new systems together. But all these companies are expert in different fields. So it's not like a integrated manufacturing industry. Just you start with a tool and then you have the end product from the other side of the line. Actually, we collaborate with all these subject matter expert companies, which are very pretty much professional of what they are doing, such as Aselsan. So in terms of any capabilities, such as mission equipments, highly advanced, high technology machine equipments, and those kind of systems are pretty much integrated to these kind of vehicles. And it also brings up the capability of the company to work with local companies rather than international companies. But also, we also pretty much seriously work with international companies of many export markets, because there's also a good collaboration and good synergy. So it's a global world. Of course, it's always good to have local partners, and we've been doing this for many years, and we continue to do this. But also, we work with international companies as well for future markets or future opportunities. So it's a good collaboration with this Turkey and its allies. So we have to see it in that position throughout designing and manufacturing our systems and delivering them to the users.
So Cem, as you know, artificial intelligence has become very important for the defense industry and many other industries, but how has FNSS been incorporating this technology into its designs?
As FNSS, we had been integrating different technologies to our vehicles. Now, artificial intelligence is coming more important as what we see, because we have been able to use different systems for many years now. Artificial intelligence helped us to reduce the manpower, to also reduce the time of effort to spend time to make decision, and it's also allowed us to improve our weapon system technologies as well within the turrets especially. But above all, we've been able to showcase another capability of the artificial intelligence, which is now we are showcasing in one of our vehicles here today. This is a diagnostic system which we actually literally talk with the vehicle, and we also get relevant answers from the vehicle. We have a great team within our R&D department which are working with these technologies, and hopefully in the future we will be able to showcase more products with interesting futures.
Hopefully. Thank you, Cem, for joining me. And that's all for this special edition of Strait Talk at IDEF 2025 in Istanbul. I'm Zeynep Gökçe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.